Okay, so something happened recently that doesn't happen all too often, which is that Victorinox released a new model, or rather a whole new line of models. And if you know me, if you know this channel, you will know that I am a huge fan of Swiss Army knives and Victorinox knives in particular. I think they are just iconic in their design. They offer a bunch of functionality and all that while being made in Switzerland and still being available at a reasonable price. Lately though, there have been a few rather critical voices whose general sentiment I actually share, and they complained, for lack of a better word, about the lack of innovation with Victorinox knives over the past few decades, actually. For whatever reason, at least for a good while, it kind of seemed like Victorinox had just sort of abandoned their main customer base and they did not listen to any of the feedback and the wishes that the community had. But now they are starting to release some new models and I'm all here for it. Out of the new releases, the one that I want to talk about in today's video is the Synergy, which I consider to be the new, bigger and tougher brother to the well-renowned Victorinox Cadet. This is probably not how Victorinox themselves would put it, but you'll get what I mean in a minute. So, one of the all-time greats out of the Victorinox lineup is the Victorinox Cadet. It's part of the Alox line, but it's a bit smaller than its full-size counterparts, coming in at 86mm compared to its bigger 93mm tall siblings. And perhaps more importantly, it's also noticeably thinner, both in regards to the thickness of the scales, but also in regards to the tools that are on here. Despite being this thin, it is still decently rugged with its Alox scales, and with the slim profile and handy selection of tools, it has proven itself to be an incredibly valuable companion tool for outdoor adventures and everyday life alike. The Cadet features a thin, medium-sized blade with the standard non-locking slip joint mechanism that Victorinox knives are known for. Other than that, it has a small nail file to keep your hands looking clean and fresh at all times, a bottle opener with a big-ish flathead screwdriver that also doubles as a light-duty prying tool and even features a wire stripper at the bottom. It can also be opened in a 90-degree angle so that you are able to apply a bit more torque when attacking those screws. And lastly, there is a can opener with a small flathead screwdriver on the tip, which also works great for many Phillips screws in a pinch. All that again wrapped in a fairly rugged yet still incredibly compact package. Now let's get to the Synergy. It's part of the new refined Alox line, which sounds incredibly fancy, but it just means that the Alox scales have some nice texturing and are partly skeletonized. Personally, I like the brushed finish, and the mix of textures is okay, I guess, but I think it would look better without the cutouts. But hey, that's just me. Overall, it's certainly a good looking tool and it still has that Victorinox charm to it. Right now they come in 3 different colors, blue, silver and red, and size wise it's a fully grown 93mm model. However, once you open up the tools you notice that there are many similarities between the Synergy and the Cadet, because it too features a blade, a nail file, a bottle opener with a flathead screwdriver and a wire stripper that can be opened at a 90-degree angle, as well as another small tool with a flathead screwdriver at the tip. And the overall layout is also exactly the same. But obviously there are some noticeable differences beyond the size and the new finishing. First of all, on the outside there is no keyring, but instead it features a deep carrying clip which is permanently pinned to the scales and allows for a more modern and in my opinion more comfortable way of daily carrying the knife. The blade is not only bigger and thicker, but more importantly now comes with a liner lock in addition to the back spring, making it a lot more secure for harder use with drastically reduced chances of the blade closing in on your hands. But it also makes it illegal to carry in certain places and countries. And lastly, they replaced the can opener with the new box opener, which was first introduced with the Victorinox companion. And all those changes make the Synergy, at least to my eyes, a bigger, tougher and more useful version of the Cadet, as I said earlier, at least if you're allowed to legally carry it wherever you live. And so, to me at least, this is essentially the version of the Cadet that I have always dreamed of. Just in case you're curious, you can also get this Victorinox with nothing but the blade and also with the same tools here, plus an added pair of scissors, which is then called the Synergy X, which I will most likely also buy at some point, but for now I'm happy with the more minimalistic approach of this standard Synergy. I think the addition of the pocket clip is great and well implemented here. It slides in and out of the pocket super easily and it's just more comfortable to carry. There's a reason why just about every other pocket knife nowadays comes with a pocket clip, and so it's nice to finally also have Victorinox on board of this train. It's also still a fairly thin Swiss Army knife, coming in at about the same thickness as the Victorinox Compact. The locking blade is nice to have in the sense that it is indeed just plain safer to use and also makes it more suitable for outdoorsy tasks. But as I said earlier, it also opens up the door for legal issues, and there are quite a few places where you will not be able to carry this knife legally, and so I just wished that Victorinox would also give us the option to get this in just a standard slip joint version. Anyway, one of the features that I just love the most is the new box opener, because let's face it, this is an EDC tool and opening boxes, for better or for worse, is one of the main things that a lot of us use our knives for. And it's just great if you have a separate tool for it and you don't have to mess up your main blade, which will get dirty and which will dull over time. And so you can keep your blade clean and use it for stuff like food prep and so on and so forth, where you don't want to have all of that tape residue on your food. And unlike with the can opener, which I have honestly almost never used in my life, this box opener will get a lot of use, and I'm so happy to see that they also managed to still keep the small flathead screwdriver on here, because that again is also one of the tools that I love most on a Victorinox knife. Overall then, I think that this is an instant win for Victorinox. It's a very beautiful, good looking and high quality and modern feeling knife. It's got many of the features that many of us have been asking for so long now. I love that this is basically the tougher, bigger and more useful brother of the Cadet. But again, as I said earlier, I only wish that they would also offer this without the locking blade, because there are just too many places in the world and even in Europe where you cannot carry a locking blade nowadays. Now, I am actually allowed to carry this around legally, and I have done so a lot actually for over the past few weeks since I got it. I've actually carried it for about 50% of the time, and the other 50% I still brought my Victorinox Spirit X along, which is a completely different beast, vastly more functional while still being a fairly slim tool to carry. It has been my EDC option for well over 1.5 years now, but yeah, on those days where I want to carry something a bit lighter, this Synergy is now my tool of choice. One last thing though, I do hope that they will also make a version of this with the locking blade, with a saw as well. So essentially like a Victorinox Farmer, but with the clip, with the locking blade and with the new box opening tool and including the saw. That would be fantastic. Keep the nail file on there. And yeah, that would make for an outstanding little outdoor companion tool. But that's all I got for you today. Those were obviously just my first impressions. I've only been using this Swiss Army knife for a couple of weeks, so this is not a review. But anyway, I just wanted to put my thoughts out there. I hope this was interesting to you. If you like this video, please let me know by giving it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more EDC related or camera and photography related content, feel free to subscribe as well. Anyway, I see you in another video. Until then, take care. Bye.